In this lecture, I will explain how the overall process works to improve your audio recording. Earlier, we learned about the effects needed to enhance sound quality. Now, I will show you how to use those effects in the correct order to achieve the best results. As a beginner, it is important to apply the effects in the following order: normalize, noise reduction, EQ, compressor, and normalize again. This order works well because each effect does its own thing and prepares the audio for the next step. Following this order makes the audio editing process smoother and the final result more polished. The order of effects matters, but this does not mean it is set in stone. Once you gain more experience in audio editing, you can rearrange the effects based on the specific needs of a recording. For now though, following this sequence will help you achieve a better sounding recording every time. To make things easier, I recommend practicing this order until you feel comfortable with it. As you gain experience, you will discover new techniques that you can add to improve your workflow. Let's take a look at the recording I have on the screen. This is a raw recording, meaning no effects have been applied yet. Before we begin editing, let's listen to it and identify the main issues.
Oh my gosh, I could give you so many of my examples, but let's take a couple that maybe more people can relate to. So say someone wanted to start a new diet, but I can't decide. Should it be Whole30? Should it be keto? Maybe I don't know enough about them, and they go back and forth and they just never decide. That's procrastinating. Or deciding which workout to start with, should I do this or should I do that? Just start, right? Or trying to write a paper and can't decide on which topic to choose. The list goes on.
The major problem with this recording is that the volume is not consistent. Sometimes the speaker's voice is very soft, making it difficult to hear, while other parts are louder. This variation in volume needs to be fixed. To address this issue, I will apply the effects in the order I just explained. After applying the effects, the recording will sound much better, and the listening experience will improve. The first effect I will use is normalize. Normalization adjusts the loudest point in the audio to a specific target level. In this case, I will normalize the audio to -3 dB. Before applying it, let's think about what will happen to the volume. Do you think the audio will get louder or quieter? If we only look at the visible part of the waveform on the screen, it might seem that the volume will increase because the waveform does not yet reach -3 dB. However, this is not the full picture. To be sure, I will check other parts of the waveform to see if there are any peaks that already exceed -3 dB. After analyzing the waveform, I can see that some peaks are already crossing -3 dB. This means that normalizing to -3 dB will reduce the overall loudness of the audio. The waveform will shrink slightly, and the volume will decrease as a result. Now, I will apply the normalize effect using the favorites menu. This menu includes a shortcut for normalizing audio to -3 dB, which makes the process quick and easy. After applying the effect, the audio is now normalized. If we look at the waveform, we can see that it touches -3 dB at its highest points. This completes the first step of the process. After normalizing the audio, the next step is noise reduction. Adobe Audition offers several tools for noise reduction, and one of the simplest to use is the denoise effect. This tool is particularly useful if the noise in your recording is consistent, like white noise. Since the noise in this recording is steady, I will use the denoise effect to process it. To begin, I will reset the denoise settings to their default values. It is important to remember that noise reduction should always be applied carefully. You should configure it with minimal settings, just enough to reduce the noise to the level you want. If you apply too much noise reduction, it can make the audio sound unnatural or harsh, which we want to avoid. I will play a portion of the audio to check how it sounds with the default denoise settings.
Oh my gosh, I could give you so many of my examples, but let's take a couple that maybe more people can relate to. So say someone wanted to start a new diet, but
With the current setting of 40% noise reduction, the audio does sound cleaner, but this amount might be too aggressive for this recording. Since the noise is quite consistent, I will lower the reduction amount to around 30%. This will ensure that the audio retains its natural sound while still removing the background noise. Next, I will test the beginning of the audio where only the noise is present. If I don't hear any loud noise or see significant noise on the meter with the 30% setting, I will proceed with this configuration. It's important to note that noise reduction settings can vary depending on the recording. If the noise in a recording is different, or if it was recorded in another environment, you will need to adjust the settings to match the situation for the best results. After testing the settings, I will listen to the audio carefully.
Oh my gosh, I could give you so many of my examples, but let's take a couple that maybe more people can relate to. So, say someone wanted to start a new diet, but can't decide.
With these adjustments, the recording sounds good. There is no strong hissing noise or noticeable distortion. Since the settings are working well, I will apply this noise reduction to the audio. The next step is applying EQ, which stands for equalization. EQ is a powerful effect that can significantly alter the sound of a recording. However, for this process, we are only focusing on simple improvements to enhance the audio. It is better to start with basic adjustments. Once you feel confident with these, you can explore the more advanced features of EQ. For this recording, I will use the parametric equalizer and apply a high-pass filter. A high-pass filter is used to remove low-frequency sounds, like rumbling, that are not part of the main audio. Before applying the filter, I will listen to the recording again to ensure this EQ setting does not negatively affect the sound.
Another sentence, and like I couldn't even move on and write another sentence until I thought of that word. It took me 20 minutes.
After testing the EQ, the audio still sounds natural and clear. Since the audio sounds fine with this adjustment, I will apply the EQ and move on to the next step. The EQ process is now complete, and I will move on to the next step, adding a compressor effect. The compressor is used to reduce the difference in volume between the loud and soft parts of the audio. This helps make the sound more consistent and easier to listen to. To apply the compressor, I will use the dynamics effect. In a previous lecture, I explained the compressor in detail, so I won't go over the basics again here. For this recording, I will start with the soft compression preset. However, remember that compression settings will vary depending on the recording. The way you adjust the compressor depends on how loud the loudest parts of the audio are, and how soft the quietest parts are. As I mentioned earlier, the principles of compression were already covered in another lecture, so I will only focus on the settings I am using for this specific recording. In this audio, the softer parts are much quieter than the louder sections. To address this, I will use a threshold of -23 dB. This means the compressor will start working whenever the audio goes above this level. It's important to note that compression settings are not one-size-fits-all. They will differ based on the dynamics of each recording. After setting the compressor, I will listen to the audio to make sure it doesn't sound overly compressed. Overcompression can make the audio feel unnatural or flat, which we want to avoid.
Many of my examples, but let's take a couple that maybe more people can relate to. So, say someone wanted to start a new diet, but can't decide. Should it be Whole30? Should it be keto? Maybe I don't know enough about.
After testing the settings, the audio sounds good with the current compressor configuration. I will now apply the settings. The audio is now compressed. If we look at the waveform, we can see that the difference between the high and low peaks is smaller. This is exactly what a compressor does. It reduces the gap between the loudest and quietest parts of the audio. For the final step, we need to normalize the audio to -3 dB again. While we normalize the audio in the first step, the compressor modifies the peaks significantly, which means the audio needs to be normalized again. This ensures the peaks are brought back to the standard level. To normalize the audio to -3 dB, I will use the shortcut available in the Favorites menu. The 5 steps I demonstrated in this lecture, normalize, noise reduction, EQ, compression, and normalize again, are essential to master. No matter your goal, whether it's voiceover work, audiobook narration, or podcast production, these steps are the foundation of great sounding audio. Finally, I will play both the improved and the original audio so you can hear the difference. You will notice how much better the processed audio sounds compared to the raw recording.
Oh my gosh, I could give you so many of my examples, but let's take a couple that maybe more people can relate to. So, say someone wanted to start a new diet, but can't decide. Should it be Whole30? Should it be keto? Maybe I don't know enough about them, and they go back. Oh my gosh, I could give you so many of my examples, but let's take a couple that maybe more people can relate to. So, say someone wanted to start a new diet, but can't decide. Should it be Whole30? Should it be keto? Maybe I don't know enough about them, and they go back and forth and they just never decide. That's procrastinating. Or deciding which workout to start with,
I hope this lecture gave you a clear understanding of the overall audio processing workflow. Practice these steps as much as you can. With regular practice, your audio editing skills will improve significantly. You just watched a video from my Adobe Audition for Beginners course. This course is for you if you want to use Adobe Audition to achieve the best quality sound. This course is for you if you are interested in professional voiceover, audiobook narration, podcasts, or content creation. You can either take only the course or get a better deal with Adobe Audition bundle. With the bundle, you will also get some pre-built presets to improve your sound with one click. In addition, you will get a professional custom EQ and preset personalized to your voice only. The benefit of the bundle is that it is at a discounted price, and you will get everything to improve your sound. With the presets, you can improve your sound even without a deep understanding of audio editing. Presets are also helpful for learning, as you can analyze the effects to understand them better. I will put all the links in the description and pinned comment.